There's a major discussion and topic which we actually learned about a few days ago together. I'd like to revisit this topic, isolate this topic independently, to focus on it, to laser focus, hyper focus, and assess this halachic issue properly. This is the topic, fellas. Is it permissible to leave a restaurant open on a fast day? And more importantly, is it permissible to order food from that restaurant and to sit in that restaurant?
On the fast
On the fast day itself, to sit and eat in the restaurant, is that permissible or not? So the information that we're going to present might be shocking in many ways, but stay focused because there's a lot to discuss over here. This is not a yes or no answer. There's a lot going on. All the notes will be in the footnote, in the description. Have all the notes. Let's start with something brand new.
Wait, what's happening? What?
Rav Harfenes.
What fast are we talking about? What
Chuvas Mekadesh Israel on Beta Metzarim and Siman Gimel. He asked the question: those who are exempt from fasting, which we will learn about in the next Siman Tov Kuf Nun. Yes, there are people who don't need to fast. People who are older, people who are sick, medical reasons, people who are pregnant, nursing, and depending upon the stage, as we will learn about. Pregnancy is a broad term. There are many different stages within the pregnancy. Also nursing. Those who are exempt from fasting. Similarly, the women and pregnant, the pregnant and nursing women who are allowed to eat on a fast day. Are they allowed to eat publicly in a restaurant? See, this question already is being asked under the assumption that certainly a restaurant may remain open on a fast day. We'll come back to that issue also. So Rav Harfenes says it's prohibited for them to eat in the actual restaurant itself. They're not allowed to. Now, truth of the matter is, we have to delve into this. If it is known that they are sick and that they're allowed to eat, then they're allowed to eat in the restaurant. And he says, certainly you can keep the restaurant open to sell items on a fast day. He set this up by saying like this: do not publicly belittle a fast day, even if it is one of the, so to say, not as important fast days. Less importance. Okay. Now over here, he gives a little bit of a rant. Rav Harfenes does not like people who are gathering at restaurants publicly on fast days and they're just talking and schmoozing away and laughing on a fast day. That is a zilzul gadol. That is a big disgrace and against the general halacha. And furthermore, if it's one of the fast days that also has to do with the mourning for the Beis Hamikdash, it's belittling the mourning for the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. And we know that Chazal tells us anyone that is einimus avili matzibur, that doesn't mourn with the congregation, will not merit to see the consoling, the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. And opposite, anyone who does mourn properly will be merit to see the rebuilding the Beis Hamikdash. This is something to think about. Not to gather around in the restaurant. You're supposed to have a serious attitude on a fast day in general. Said by the Chazon Ish that one time it's recorded many Sfarim. The person is going to break the fast, do it privately. Not only should a person do it privately, but if you break the fast privately, don't start telling people or showing a glow on your face, so to say, that now you have more energy because you broke your fast. Calm it down over there. Don't make it recognizable that you broke your fast, even if you're not eating in front of anyone else.
You should do the bare minimum. Shouldn't.
That's something else we're going to discuss in the next sim. And if you're allowed to break your fast, how much are you allowed to eat? Yom Kippur, other fast, very good. That's going to be the next topic. But you don't want to show people that you broke it. And therefore, he reiterates again, he doesn't like those gatherings. And therefore, at the restaurant, and therefore, it is placed upon the Jewish owners of these restaurants not to allow people to dine in. Okay? Because if people are going to eat there, they could cause others to sin. Why? Let's say some people were going to fast, and then they see groups of people going in the restaurants. They see through the glass people are eating in the restaurants. That sets a bad vibe. And that could negatively affect others as well. Rather, these owners of the restaurant should only sell takeout. Or what they should do, if people really need to eat in the restaurant, leave the lights off over there so that it's recognizable that something's different over here. Leave the lights off, okay? I'd like to just, before we continue with this tshuva, just digress to the Shailus and Tshuva Shevet Hakehati in Chelik Dalet Siman Kuf Nun Hey. Where over here he discusses you could leave restaurants open because some people are allowed to eat on a fast day. Okay. You need to eat privately, like the Magen Averaham says. No. We could come on to the assumption that by the time he gets to his house, he will be weak. He won't be able to get to that. Personally, near recite, I think that this is far-fetched to say.
Well, the food gets cold. It's not as good.
Yeah, it gets cold. It's a fast day. You know what? And it's wrapped up in a way that it could last at least 10 minutes and it could stay hot. It's wrapped up in a way. They have special ways that it's closed. The fries won't even get soggy in 10 minutes. Okay? So we're talking over here. We're not talking about hot versus cold. We're talking about the guy is going to get in a dangerous medical situation because he can't make it home. That is unlikely. Okay? That's why I don't like that line over here in this tshuva. Yeah. I'm like, come 10 minutes earlier then. You know what I'm saying? Do Uber Eats. They probably didn't have Uber Eats when this was written, so you don't even need to go. Okay? Because you're so weak, you can't even get up. You could push a few buttons with your finger, and then boom, it comes right to your door. Okay? So this idea of the takeout option only, I'm a big fan of. Now, I will go into my own personal comments after we finish this tshuva about a situation when maybe you could dine in and they could leave the lights open. I'm going to discuss my personal views, then open up the floor for major discussion. I know I'm hogging the table a little bit with the conversation over here. I'm going to open up the floor. Don't worry. Okay? Because I thought about this, and I also brought this up in the shir I gave in Shari Tvila between Mincha and Marav. It was 20 minutes at Shalat Shudas, and I brought this in the last 5 minutes. And I had this thought when I said it over. I said it all about that. Okay? The Rav Harfenes continues in the Shalos of Chuvas Mekadesh Yisrael, and he says it's prohibited to go to a location where people are eating and drinking on a fast and they're not supposed to. And in general, Moshe Feinstein in the Shalos and Chuvas Igros Moshe Yordei Chelik Al Simin Kuf Nun Vav, same siman as Shevet Hakehati, just one off, Kuf Nun Vav, Kuf Nun Hey, says it's prohibited to look at people when they are transgressing, when they're violating sins. Just like it's a mitzvah to look at people when they are fulfilling mitzvahs. And then, by the way, he concludes by quoting the Shevet Hakehati over here. And the Mishnah Yosef, which we already learned, which talks about closing a coffee room on a fasting. Continuing in the Shevet Hakehati. The Poskim say that you shouldn't eat a whole lavish meal, idunim, a luxurious meal. You should eat only as much as you need to eat. No. We're not talking about Yom Kippur, by the way. We're talking about other fasts. No. Maybe he needs the other food. Furthermore, that's only a stringency. From the letter of the law, you could eat whatever you want. We'll come back to that as we continue. Not today's session, but as we continue. The Magen Averaham in Hilchos Shabbos and Shin Mem Zayin says it's prohibited to lend out something on Shabbos, which is a kli malacha, which you're not allowed to use on Shabbos, if the person who you're lending it to, which in English we call, if the borrower is suspected that he's going to use it in a prohibited manner on Shabbos. Okay. No. The answer to that is Not only could you leave the restaurant open for someone religious, even if he's not religious at all, you suspected that he's going to eat on a fast day. It's permissible. We assume that he's weak and isn't halachically obligated to fast. Tremendous leniency. Furthermore, the Achronim write that if someone comes to the restaurant who's not going to wash his hands before eating bread, who's not going to recite a bracha, it's okay because you're selling it to him. It's okay, right? And therefore, just like that's okay, so too the fast will be okay. Should be pointed out before I suggest my ideas on this tshuva from Rav Harfenes. If you look in the Chazon Ovadiya on the Daled Taniyos, on page Lamed Zayin, he has 6 pages of Rav Ovadiya Yosef on this exact shaila. The end of the day, he says they can leave it open. Why? This goes into lifnei verloititin mechshol. If you're going to leave a restaurant open, it's like putting a stumbling block in front of a blind person. He's going to trip and fall and hurt himself. No. There's a concept of trei avridanara. In other words, is there another source for him to eat? Is there another location where he could eat? So he says, nowadays, there are other places where they could go, other restaurants. Yes, very good, Rav Ovadiya. But that's only in an in-town location such as the 5 towns that has 60 restaurants. But address the main shaila if you're the only restaurant in town. He says, if the restaurant is going to be left open, hang up a sign that says, today is a fast day, which is completely accepted throughout all of the Jewish people. Everyone agrees on it. Okay. That's the information. You could leave the restaurant open. It seems like as of now, it should really only be takeout. That is not so practical. This is my own necessities. It's not so practical to leave a restaurant open and only set it up for takeout. First of all, I'm going to just point out over here. We have to address an issue which was not addressed by the svarim that we learned until now. You know, we live in America. We live in New York, one of the most diverse places in the world. Okay? In terms of all different backgrounds.
I think
ethnicities. Someone commented on the word, how do you say synonymous? And he commented what the other word was, the antonyms, however you pronounce it.
Autonomous?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he
antonym?
Yeah, he did the word. He commented on the word. He said that was the word. He said good Giro, so that was the car one. Took my running chair. Anyways, we have to realize we live in a location that I'll get you the word that he sent me. Hold on.
Shut the door. Okay.
No. Antonymous. Whole discussion how you pronounce it, tricky spelling. That was okay. We live in a generation in which there are people who aren't Jewish who go to kosher restaurants. Now it depends where. I'll tell you right now. We went to Sabba's Pizza Shop on the Upper East Side in New York City a few weeks ago. We walked in and we were like, "Are you sure this place is kosher?" Shows at the front, it's kosher, chalav Yisrael, everything. There wasn't one Jewish person in the restaurant. I'm not saying the restaurant was ready to seat 200 people. You know, it's in New York City expensive. It was seating maybe 30 people, maybe, right? If you squash. Wow. But there must have been 3 or 4 different parties who weren't even Jewish at all. So, if you have a restaurant like that, for sure you could leave it open on a fast day with the sit down. Okay, we're talking about more of a segregated type of restaurant, meaning person knows his clientele and he's really only getting Jewish. 5 towns is mainly only Jewish, but it depends where here. Some of them, if they're more on the outskirts or if they're cheaper prices, so then you will have people who aren't Jewish. Also, you have to assess, in terms of business meetings. People do it at restaurants. Right? So all of these factors we have to put into consideration, and perhaps one could be more lenient if on a fast day. Another issue that we have to address, which I'm not part of the VAD at all, the kashrus, the hashkacha, a mashkiach in any way. We have to say, everyone would agree, no one has said that you can't keep a grocery store open on a fast day. For sure you could. Why? People are buying food for after the fast. It's all part of the preparation process. Look, is it better to buy food not on a fast day and buy it before so you don't get in a situation? Yeah. Why? That's the prima gata that we learned. It's better not to touch food on a fast day for no reason. You know, if you didn't do so, it's certainly permissible to go to a grocery store on a fast day. Obviously not Yom Kippur. Okay.
Well, what are permissible reasons? What are permissible reasons?
So if a grocery store were able to keep open, why? Because people could get takeout. So then why would a restaurant be any different? So the answer is because it's the norm for a restaurant. People hang out there. People eat in and dine in. Fine. So once you're getting takeout, it will be the same thing, which brings up to the next point. When is the restaurant being left open? Okay. If the fast is ending at 9:20 at night and the restaurant is open at 6 o'clock in the morning, bagel store, what do you got to be open at 6 o'clock in the morning for?
That's when they make the bagels.
Oh, that's when they make the bagels every single day. That's their routine. That's their schedule. Very nice. Halachically, hashkafically, should a restaurant be open, 15 hours before the fast ends? They're opening when the fast starts.
That would depend on the part of the clientele again.
Okay, fine. Let's assume it's mainly Jewish people who are coming.
So then,
okay, so now here's the defense for potentially a restaurant being open. And again, everything that we're discussing is controversial. That is all baked into the politics, I'm sure, of when restaurants are able to be open on a fast day or not. You could say, wait a second. People will work. They're not going to have time. A bagel store is going to close at, what time do bagel stores close? 7 at night?
No, I think
even earlier, 6 o'clock. A guy is working. He has a
bagel?
job that's 6-figure. The guy's making it. The guy's working 5 days a week. He's got family. He's got kids to support. He doesn't have time to go to a bagel store at 5 o'clock in the middle of a workday. So to say, the guy's working till 7 at night. Oh, comes the 5:30 in the morning bagel store. Now we could talk. Now we could get the bagels. I'll bring them. I'll put them in my car. I'll put them in my briefcase when I'm walking through the Big Apple in the city with the hustle and bustle. Boom! I'll have bagels for after the fast. So now we could potentially come onto a leniency. So one other point is that this is precisely Rav Harfaneses' point. If you have a restaurant that isn't allowing people to eat in the restaurant, that's basically a grocery store, which for sure could be open on the fast day. Those are my comments on this sugya. What do you guys say? I know David had what to say.
What's the? So can you repeat the question? Sorry.
What do you want to say before? What do you want to comment?
I've had a couple comments. I don't remember. I would. First of all, also to which fast day we talking about in general?
Okay, good question. Let's assume we're talking about everything
women
other than Yom Kippur.
It's mutter for a lot of women. Yom Kippur, no restaurants are open, right?
No, for sure not Yom Kippur. But definitely we're talking about Shavuos B'Tammuz, Asara B'Tevis, and Solam Gedalia.
But
this shaila equally applies, by the way, on Tisha B'Av.
eBay is getting this done. eBay.
It's a discussion. Are restaurants open Tisha B'Av?
I don't know.
And especially the ones in the city. You know, the ones in the city, every single day. What is a restaurant paying in the city for rent? The higher end with the big space. What are they paying?
No idea.
Let's say they're paying $8,000 a month. I wouldn't be surprised for a big space, a big restaurant, something like a high-end one, reserve cut or something.
No, more than that.
Let's say 10,000 a month. I'm just saying a round number, 10,000 a month. Let's say they're paying, right?
I think that. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. actually.
Comes out they're paying, around $400 a day in rent. So now they're already right. So that's why what these restaurants do, because the rent is so high, is they do what's the name for it when you have a set menu beforehand? Prefix.
This
They
kind
do
of mesh, yeah.
prefix and
What?
people
Yeah, yeah.
As in,
prepay
you know,
before
yeah.
Shabbos. They eat there on Shabbos, even
I'll check for that.
at night, like a hotel.
Yeah.
It's fair game. It's permissible. You do it. Right. So fast days also with business and everything, the whole question business at Tisha B'Av. So let's assume this applies to the 3 minor fasts, but I think it's up for discussion also on Tisha B'Av, at least to keep the restaurant open, not to eat there. But anyways, I think that's bottom line. If it wasn't clear, restaurant could be kept open certainly if it's only serving takeout. If you're dining in, I think the Psak of Rav Harfenes is very reasonable to try to shut the lights. Practically, they're not going to do it over here. I'm telling you, they're not going to do it in the 5 towns. You won't see restaurants that remain open but keep the seats on the table and don't allow people to sit down and shut the lights off. You're not going to see it. So everyone could look into the policy of the VAD and all these different things.
You have the maids coming in with the little kids eating.
Right, look, you could say that, but if you're seeing fully grown women in their 40s sitting around and sipping tea, I don't know what's is that what Hashem wants?
They're sipping tea, they're doing it, what's it called?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not saying tea. They're eating full meals, appetizer, main, so right. So I think halachically, hashkafically, based on the information we presented, I think a rebuttal is needed in order to justify that.
What they say, Shara, anybody's
Legitimate halachic. No, it was a very quiet crowd. No one was interested. But
So they were interested.
yeah, okay. So around half a dozen people came up to me when they bumped into me after they said shkach. Okay, right. So I think a rebuttal is needed for people to sit and eat in restaurants. Something to think about. All right. So Amir Hashem will tomorrow. We'll continue tomorrow and have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Shkach.